Hello once again. Okay, so today's plan is to paint the panelling. Excuse me, I've got terrible allergies today. To paint the panelling to make it look more deep, so you can actually see, because you can't really see the panelling there unless the light catches it, whereas once it's painted, I think there's a big difference. These two bits have already been done. Now, I've made my paint mixture, so it's only acrylic paint and water, very, very thin. So I put in a piece of paint about the size of a penny. And then I put in about 2 tablespoons of water. So, and I'm talking about a flat penny as well. So the paint was it was about the size of a penny, flattened down. So that's quite a bit. So it takes a lot longer to build up the shadows. But that's better for me because I don't want it overdone. Oh, excuse me. I have, the only other painting I've done, I have painted for where the fireplace will go, where the window will go, and where the door will go, just in case I have any of them on show. I have also painted around the outside edge and down the corners, so that along the top, just in case, you know, any of the papers don't fit properly, as I'm not very precise. So that will make sure that everything is more appealing to the eye. So I am going to carry on with these, and I will show you how I do it briefly. Like I said, it's boring, so I'm not going to film it a great deal. I just take this one of the smaller brushes. It's not the smallest brush I have, but it is one of my smaller brushes. Make sure my paint is well mixed. Knock off some of the paint. And then, rather than just go through the middle of the channel, I'm butting up against the edge. And because this has been sprayed, I'm letting the paint sit there for a bit. I do have some tissues. They're actually for my nose, but and as you can see, this will take me probably about an hour to do these 2 pieces. Which I don't mind. There, you can already see a difference. Look at that. Yeah, it will take me about an hour to do these 2 pieces. So what I shall do is I shall put my radio on. Hello, smooth radio. No, hello, 80s. I'm going to put the 80s mix on, because I was an 80s teenager. What I also might do is just go very gently and very lightly, just on the edge, top and bottom, maybe, because that really brings out the whole piece. So what I should do is I shall do that, and then I'll go back round and I'll do it again, and then I'll go back round. So I'll do all of them, go back to the beginning, do it all again, back to the beginning, do it all again. 3 times is usually enough to make it deep enough, so that you can see a bit of a difference. And then I also have to do around the edges. So you can see this is done quite heavily. I don't know if you can see here, it's done quite heavily, but the effect is there. I wanted to give you some measurements of the openings, and I think I told you these are 1 1/3 inch, so that's 1 19/64 of an inch across and 3 inches in depth. So, and these are 1/2 inch square. Pretty easy to show you on this one. These are 1/2 inch square. These are 1/2 inch by 3 inches. And all I've done is I've laid them out so that they're centre, and obviously this is all the way round. There's a 1/8 of an inch gap all the way round, and in between each piece of panelling there is a 1/4 of an inch gap. Now the window is 3 3/4 inches high by 2 7/8 across. So that means the fireplace is 2 7/8. No, the fireplace is 3 by 4, I do believe. 3 by 4 1/4. But that will have a shelf there, obviously, so the actual fireplace will be down here. The door, it was the full frame, but then I added the frame to it, so it is now 5 3/4 inches by 2 3/8 of an inch, plus the 1/4 of an inch frame all round the side. And I have layered that, and it needs to be glued a bit more because I can see there's a gap there. But yeah, so it's been layered 3 times. So it's got the original layer at the bottom of the cardboard, then it's got another layer, and then it's got the printed layer. It's the only one that is 3 layers because I wanted it to stand out a little bit. So there you go, that's the measurements. Oh, and these ones are 1 1/3 inches by 1 1/4 inches high. On the door, I kind of just fiddled about with it. I think the door is going to have to be how you want it to be. I wanted my door so that when it was in line, the smaller panel bits here were all in a line, and on the main back these are all obviously 1 1/3 inches by 3 inches. This is 1 1/3 inches by 1/2 inch. So yeah, that's all I did. Right, this part is all done. I'm just closing the door slightly. The only extra thing I have done is I've chosen opposite diagonal corners to darken more. So I've taken a watercolour pencil, or any white pencil would do, or even a bit of watered down white paint, and carefully, just actually not so carefully with the pencil, just gone on the same corners that I darkened on the panel that's centre. I've just highlighted the edges, and it really brings them out. So he's all done, and I've decided I'm not going to have the door open, but I am going to have one of the windows open. The window I'm going to have it as a double window, which is why I did it quite wide. It's going to be a double window with shutters. So hopefully that'll be okay. I don't have to do anything else to the back bit. I could spray these again just to fix everything, but it should be okay. We hope. So that's done. I finally got round to inking the edges and painting the side pieces. See, I've got glue on it, but I don't care. It actually doesn't detract from how it looks, really. And I might spray the whole thing afterwards. I do know that I have to find my oh, use your brain now, woman. My pictures I've got of the ends of the book, so you can see like the pages, and obviously I need that for the top and the back. I have got them somewhere. I will find them and I will print those off, and that shouldn't be too difficult to line up. So I don't have to do that one just yet. This one's going to go here and fall over. This one, I'm really pleased with the positioning of this one, because she's looking this way, which means it should be looking towards the back where this raven is flying. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. I may have to do a little bit of, oh no, I won't. It's all pretty good. I might have to do a little bit. Nope. There we go. That will go there. Yeah, I think it's looking okay. I know I'm going to have to cut this one down a bit, because I did cut down the door to make it not such a tight fit. Well, I was looking for some of the ceiling mouldings that a friend made for me, and I couldn't find them, but I got distracted. I was thinking about the furniture that's going to go inside the room. Now, I could make it, I've made most furniture that goes inside my brood boxes. Excuse me. But I have got a lot of Doll's House furniture, which I'd like to start using, to be honest. So I found this table, which I had already sanded down and repainted, because I think it had something stuck to it, cards or something, but that might be slightly too big. And I found this chair, and it was covered in this like red velvet, and the style of the chair I think is going to be perfect. However, I'm really sorry about anyone who does love it. I apologise for anyone who does love it. I really don't like this orangey, tiki, reddy sort of colour. It just, in some instances it looks good as furniture. In certain rooms it's not going to look good in this room. So I've ripped off all of the material, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some varnish remover on there. Just now, varnish remover. I'm going to give it a good wash. I'm going to give it a scrub. I'm going to give it a sand down. I'm going to give it another wash, and then I'm going to repaint it. And I found this mirror also. This is a Doll's House Emporium mirror, and I think it's not particularly brilliant, but as you can see, the top of the chair and the top of the mirror have a similar pattern, so I think they'll go quite nicely together. Now, this isn't so red, but it's still going to be repainted, so I'm going to repaint this one also. I found this picture, which I don't like, but I love the little frame that it comes in. I thought it was a nice ornate little frame. Let's see if I can get that to there. See, it's a nice little frame. So that's how I found this set of furniture, which is also, once again, that lovely red colour. And I think this might be the table that I use. So that will have to be repainted. What else did I find? I found some books, but I think I'm going to make my own anyway, so these are going to go back in the drawer, I think, along with that table. Now I found this fireplace. I'm not going to use this fireplace. It is slightly too wide and not tall enough, but oh, excuse me, I'm going to use it for inspiration. This is a broken fireplace. The wires have long been pulled out, so I might take out the coals and reuse those. But I like the aesthetics of it. I think it's really nice. So that's going to be used as a plan, you know, an idea. I found this lovely little globe on a high stand that spins. I say found it, I made this quite a while ago. So I'm going to paint this slightly darker. These are dead easy to make, by the way. This is layers of card. This is the bottom of a balustrade railing, staircase railing. This is card. The cocktail stick goes through a cotton ball, so it's like a really hard cotton ball. You could use a polystyrene ball, and then this was just printed off the internet and stuck on. Actually, fiddly but easy. And how I got this all centered so nicely, knowing that I don't do it very often, is I put holes in the bottom to line everything up. So yeah, that's going to be in the room as well, painted. I also found some lighting. I found a really nice little gas lamp, which I may or may not use. And some, these are all battery lights, by the way. Candlesticks, battery lights. I also found a chandelier with the candles on, which is also a battery light, so the light is inside. So I don't know if I'll use that. And I also found this battery light, which is a fire glow light. So, oh, and I've just undone it. There we go. So I may use that. I also found what I call my witchy box. This is all the stuff that I've been collecting for a witchy room that I'm going to make, and in it are a couple of ravens here, and I know I've got two more somewhere. So oh, and there's also this lamp. This, see, that's a nice lamp, but obviously it doesn't light up, and I don't know how to make that one light up and still keep it looking nice. So where's my ravens? Here's my ravens. Trying to get them out without breaking them. There we go. Da, 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 da. It's not gonna, crikey, that is so dark, isn't it? There's my ravens. Not that you can see it very well, but there we go. That's my raven. I was looking to see if I had a bust, as in a head bust, but I couldn't find one. So that's obviously something that I haven't kept and I've given away. So I know I've got a whole box somewhere full of like little bottles and glasses and stuff, so I'm going to want a bottle and a little glass to go on the table. So it is a matter of rubbing these down and repainting them rather than making my own, because I think this is just perfect. And when all's said and done, it'll probably be easier for me to make my own with the amount of work that's going to go into it. But there's no point having this furniture here and just leaving it to go to waste. So that's some of the ideas I have. I think I'm going to use this as an idea to work off of as a ceiling light, because I think I would like a ceiling light It gives me an excuse to have a fancy rose in the centre of the ceiling. If I can find the mouldings that I had. And as it stands at the moment, I've looked everywhere where I think they might be, and I have no idea. So I'm going to look again. That's what happens when you tidy up your craft room. You should never tidy up. It just gets you into a whole lot of losing things. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to... I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plan out the fireplace, how to build the fireplace. Okay, I have painted all the little bits that I wanted to paint. What I did, after I sanded them down and gave them a rub over with acetone, sanded them a bit more, I went over with black acrylic paint, and then with a mixture of brown acrylic paint, dark brown acrylic paint, and water-based varnish, which is in here. See, it's very, very dark. I put a little bit of black in there and went over it, so that this is actually a very, very dark brown. It doesn't look it, but it is a very, very dark brown. I wish I could get the lighting better on here, but I can't. Anyway, checking that all my lights are on. I also did the chair, and I glued the fabric back on. And much as I love this colour, I want it to match the curtains. Now, the curtains in the poem The Raven are purple. So I have on order some purple velvet, sort of like velour fabric, which I'm hoping will be okay. And I've tried to paint this with a water ink, and it didn't work out. So now I've got this. It's watered down paint, and it's called Deep Cobalt Violet Hue, and I think it's going to need more water. I'd rather have, because that's going to be quite... The reason I chose a more purpley, more blue sort of colour was because it's going over red, and I wanted it to be purple. And see, it's not doing anything really. It's really annoying me that this is so dark. Let me just try and move this round a little bit. Now we'll try that for a minute. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to try and paint this with the purple, the bluey purple, and see how it turns out. What glue did I use to stick this on with? Because obviously I had to stick this all back on. I ripped it all off and then I stuck it back on. I used all-purpose clear adhesive by Everbuild Stick 2. It's a very stinky glue. I wouldn't advise using it without gloves on. I actually wore gloves when I did it, and in a well ventilated area too. It really does smell pretty awful. So actually this could be working. And like I said, I glued that early this morning, and I'm hoping that I can get this quite wet and it not come back up again. I might put some more paint actually in there. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to paint this and hope that it changes colour enough to match in with the purple. If it goes very, very dark, I don't mind.
hopefully it will be okay. And I'm going to leave it to dry once again, definitely overnight, because I don't want it to start coming apart if I start mucking around with it too soon. So I have finished. I did 3 coats of the watered down paint. The last coat I added a tiny bit more paint to it. And I'm trying to hold it under the light so you can see the colour. It still looks quite dark because it is still wet. As you can see, it's rubbing off on me, but I think it should be okay when it's dry. Of course, purple is this is purple, so you can see it matches in quite well. It will still be a reddy purple, but I'm hoping that it'll be okay. So that's all I'm going to do today. I'm now going to search for the opposite side of the book spines pictures that I have, so pictures of the pages which I can lay on top and across the back of the room box. And I think that's it for the moment. So I will see you next time, and hopefully we'll be able to start thinking about putting some of this together.